Thank you very much for inviting me here today. I'm going to talk about a project that was put together in the south of Ireland, which was called the Lakes Buddies Project. So, as you know, my name now is Vicky Veerkamp. I am a technical lead with LAWPRO, the Local Authorities Waters Programme, and I'm based in the Border region. So, sorry, the slides won't move on. Yeah, they got it. So the project itself, it began back in 2017-2018 following a request from a group of local anglers. They wanted to become more involved in their local environment. So LawPro organised a training session back in October 2018 with fisheries expert Dr. Ken Whelan, which allowed participants themselves to get a better understanding of what water quality was and how they could get involved in citizen science projects. The LawPro team then proposed the Lake Buddies project to several agencies, and after securing their support, they applied to the Community Water Development Fund, which was in LawPro itself, and were awarded €10,000 to get some equipment to get this project up and running. In order to get the project up and running, LawPro also helped them devise a GIS app, which was known as Survey 123, which would allow the data to be collected in a central database for the community group. So as you can see here, the initiative brought together a wide range of groups. We had angling groups, we had community groups from all across the region. The groups themselves focused on 3 lakes. These were Lough Erne, mainly in Donegal, Lough Melvin and Lough Sheelin, and all were identified as priority areas under Ireland's second cycle river basin management plan. So while the community groups were working in these lakes, the catchment scientists in LawPro were also working at the same time in these areas. So in 2019 we acquired the equipment for the volunteers, so which they could use to monitor their lakes. So these included 2 probes. One was for dissolved oxygen, and then we had a second handheld probe, which was for your pH, temperature and conductivity. They also we purchased them Secchi discs for each of the groups to measure turbidity. The volunteers were trained to use to measure these water quality parameters and record their findings through the Survey 123 app, which we developed for them. The parameters which they measured were dissolved oxygen, and we just asked them to record it in percentage saturation, not to confuse it. They did Secchi depth, pH, temperature, along with general observations such as the presence or absence of algae. So since 2019 we've had several meetings and training sessions, including follow-ups to review the data that the community groups collected. If they had any issues, we could troubleshoot them at these meetings, and we provided continued support to the groups. We've had several speakers from different agencies come and talk to the volunteers about different topics. We've had the EPA in the south explain how they would carry out their lake monitoring. We had the NIA come and talk to the community groups, as well as we had Rory O'Conquer from LawPro who came and talked to them about the importance of biosecurity. So while they're out there, it is still important to remember biosecurity. So here is an example of the Survey 123 app that was used for the project. It was devised so that it would be simple to use by the groups and that they could pull these up on their mobile phone devices. So even if they were out on a boat on the lake taking a sample, if they hadn't got signal, they were able, when they came back into shore, upload the information. It wasn't lost. And in addition, the app allowed the groups to geotag their locations of where they were collecting their samples. So these examples here are some of the points that they chose in Lough Melvin, Lough Erne and Lough Sheelin. So to make sure the data collected by the citizen scientists was accurate and reliable, was very important for the volunteers and ourselves. So that's why we created these quality control charts that they could use to plot their data and see if the measurements taken were within recommended ranges for parameters. If the results were plotted outside these ranges, it would allow the volunteers to check their equipment, check if they needed recalibration or even retake their measurements. Like I said, LAWPRO catchment scientists were also working in these areas at the same time, and they were able to provide additional support to the groups if issues did arise. So since the project started, we've had several meetings with the community groups. So the project has evolved to include the monitoring of these inflowing streams. So while the community groups wanted to look after their lakes, we try to reiterate that to look after your lake, it's also important to take control of the inflowing streams. So the groups have done this using the same equipment that they have already got from the Lakes programme, but they've also taken up some CSSI method monitoring, so they're going out doing kick samples now on the inflowing streams and adding this into the central database. Furthermore, in June of this year, the Rossinver anglers in Melvin, with the help of LAWPRO, have gone a step further and they've installed a thermistor chain. So it'd be interesting to see the kind of data they're going to get from this. So in general, the project was a great initiative that the community groups came up with for their local environment, and I just want to say a big thank you to all the groups that were involved in trying to get this Lake Buddies project going, particularly the volunteers and the supporting agencies. Thank you.